Almost every e-commerce brand is wasting their time every single month A/B testing elements and variables that don't actually move the needle for their business at all. These are brands that are testing button colors, subject lines, and other variables that just don't make a dent in overall revenue growth. Imagine someone came to you and asked you how you are actually going to grow your business, grow your revenue, grow your bottom line this year, and you said that I'm going to try testing a button that's green versus a button that's red. Any entrepreneur, any real legit marketer that's experienced knows that that is absolutely not how any of this works. The actual ways for you to grow your revenue and your bottom line come down to your merchandising, they come down to your ad spend, they come down to the actual marketing that you're doing. And that's why today I'm going to be showing you the exact A/B test that we run in our automated flows for our 8-figure brand partners that actually move the needle in terms of overall revenue. And in case you don't know who I am and you just randomly clicked on this video, I have run hundreds of A/B tests every single year for the last 3 years for over 40 brands across every niche, and everything I'm about to tell you has applied to every single niche. And at Dispatch, we've generated over $50 million in email and SMS revenue. So I can tell you that these tests that I'm about to walk through are actually worth running. All right, so what we're looking at right here is a typical customer journey and all of the triggered flows within Klaviyo or another ESP that you're using that come up along that customer journey. So we can see the actions taken along this journey. We have someone visiting the site. That's when a pop-up form is going to come up. And then if they abandon the site, they don't make it to the next step, you're gonna have a site abandonment flow, collection abandonment flow, and then so on and so forth. So the first thing that I want to get out of the way is if you do not have these core flows set up, you need to have these flows set up before you start thinking about A/B testing and optimizing. So if you're watching this and you don't have all of these flows set up that you'll see right above the customer journey steps or right below the customer journey steps, your first action item is to watch my video on how to create the perfect automated flows. You should probably watch my full course on Klaviyo too. And then you can come back here once you have those set up to start running A/B tests. For the sake of this video, I'm going to assume that you do have your core flows set up. So let's get into what actually moves the needle and what A/B tests we actually run for our brand partners that have a lot of leverage behind them to actually generate more revenue. So there's two things that we can see here. These optimizations are broken out into high priority, high leverage tests that should be run, and then medium priority tests. Anything in green is high priority because it has more leverage behind it. And then anything that's yellow is just lower priority because there's less leverage. And when I say leverage, I mean making a change and running a test in that area is going to have a lower overall impact on revenue growth. So let's start at the beginning of our customer journey. Once we have someone's email address and they subscribe, they are going to go into the welcome series. Our welcome series is very high leverage because someone has just told us that they have a high level of intent in terms of wanting to know more and potentially purchase from our brand. The highest leverage emails within our welcome series are going to be email number 1 and email number 2. So essentially, we're going to want to A/B test those first 2 emails because there's so much traffic that is going to come through them compared to our other flows. The traffic coming through them, especially in email 1 and email 2, we know is very high intent. You never know that someone is going to have as much interest in your brand as you do the day that they sign up or the day that they purchase. So every day that goes by after someone signs up, and you'll see this in your flow data, you're going to see huge drop-offs from day 1 to day 2, from day 2 to day 3. It's like a waterfall. Every day is going to drop lower. Email 1 and 2 are going to convert quite well for every brand. If you can get your conversion rate on email 1 from 5% to 7%, and you have hundreds or thousands of new subscribers coming through that flow every day, that is what we call high leverage. That is what actually makes a difference to your revenue, to your CAC, to your bottom line. So A/B testing those first 2 emails is high leverage. And then also the next thing that you can do that is very high leverage is at a certain point in your welcome flow, both email and SMS, you're going to see your conversion rate on one of your emails in that flow drop very close to 0. Now, when that happens, you're going to understand that, okay, if it's email 3 and we have 1 day time delays in between each of our emails, that's going to mean that on day 3, when that conversion rate drops close to 0%, we understand that organically, this is where people are dropping off. There is very little we can say at this point to get someone to convert, whether that's email 3, email 4, email 5, in order to get them to purchase, where that is going to be material, which is why what you should be testing at this point is a strong offer to get them to convert. The reason why this is so important is because 80 to 90% of people who join your list are never going to buy ever. It doesn't matter what you say. they're not going to buy. And the odds of them buying drops day by day. So you want to find where that point is in your funnel where people are dropping off and at a huge risk of lapsing. And the most important thing you can do is try and convert them. Basically throw everything in the kitchen sink in order to find something that sticks and try to get them to convert. All right, so that's our welcome series. Now, someone's going through the welcome series. If they come back to the site, they visit the site, they're gonna abandon the site before they actually view any products, add anything to cart. That's gonna be our site abandonment flow. What you can A/B test that's high leverage in your site abandonment flow is the time delay. So are you sending that email after 30 minutes? Are you sending it after an hour? That is a test that will yield an impactful result. And then the other thing you can test here is an additional offer for prospects. And this is gonna be an offer that is better than the welcome offer and different from your window shopper flow, which we'll touch on in a second. The reason you're gonna wanna A/B test an additional offer is because if you can see that a existing prospect subscriber has come back to the site and they have not purchased, that is a really high intent signal that we can potentially convert them. And if you've watched my full course video, if you've watched my flows video, you would know that we're gonna branch abandonment flows, all of them, between prospects and existing customers coming back to the site. Now, in our prospects branch, we're going to be reminding them of our acquisition offer. That is why you're gonna have your baseline conversion rate. So let's say you're converting at 5% in that site abandonment flow for prospects, and you're reminding them of the 10% off their first order. What will happen in an A/B test if you run that 10% acquisition offer versus an additional 5% and offer 15% for prospects specifically? This is very high leverage because, again, 80 or 90% of people are never going to convert. Can we get them in the door to place a first order with an incentive at a point in the customer journey where they're showing some intent? So this isn't a conversation about devaluing your brand with discounts. This is a conversation about the reality of the math, which clearly dictates that there is a high likelihood this person's never going to buy. The best thing you can do for your CAC and your LTV is just get them to buy it the first time. So the next thing here, someone's going through the welcome series, they come back to the site. Now they're going to view a product on your Shopify store, and then they're going to go into the browse abandonment flow if they don't go any deeper in the funnel. So they view the product, they don't add to cart, they don't start checkout. That is our browse abandonment flow. And the high impact A/B tests to run here are, again, time delay A/B tests. So are we sending email after 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes? And then again, A/B testing an additional offer for prospects that's better than the welcome offer. A/B testing an offer for existing customers after the first email. So someone is looking at a product, they're an existing customer, they receive that first browse abandonment email and it didn't get them to buy. What happens when we include an additional incentive on that second email in the browse abandonment flow? And again, this is a high traffic flow. And if we can drive the conversion rate from 5% to 7%, and the margin that we're giving away is not substantial, what is the impact on our net revenue? Because of course we're giving up margin. And what we want to make sure of is that the conversion rate and additional total revenue coming in is much greater than that margin we're giving away. And this is a high leverage A/B test that can result in a lot more net revenue. Now below here, we have our window shopper flow. Our window shopper flow is basically identical to the browse abandonment flow. The only difference is that the trigger is a segment for identified window shoppers. And we just want to make sure that anyone who's going through this flow is showing high intent. The A/B tests that we would want to run in our window shopper flow are basically identical to the browse abandonment flow. And it's about offers. So this is a consistent theme in high leverage A/B tests. Testing offers is going to be much more high leverage and high impact than testing other things. So someone views a product and then they add to cart. So this is where they're going into our cart abandonment flow. Our cart abandonment flow is a high priority flow. And essentially what we want to be A/B testing is the time delays, testing additional offers for prospects, and testing additional offers for existing customers. And for existing customers, you can A/B test in the first email if you want to give away the margin. Typically, existing customers don't need the incentive as much as prospects. So that's why we don't want to give up margin if we don't have to. And that's where we typically just want to test this after the first email. Next up is our checkout abandonment flow. This is very high leverage because it is the point right before purchase. And we want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to get these prospects and these customers who are very high intent over the finish line and converted. So again, time delay A/B tests are very high impact here. We want to test offers that are going to prospects, test offers that are going to existing customers after the first email. And then another test you can run is branching the flow between high value and low value carts and offering additional discounts on higher value carts. So if someone's checking out for an order over 250 bucks, let's say, and your AOV is $100, you can afford to give up more margin on that $250 order in order to get it in the door. Now, a major pro tip here, and this is a pro tip for all abandonment emails, if you see that the last email in your flow, so let's say you have 4 emails in your abandoned cart flow, if that 4th email is still driving revenue at all, basically, that's usually a really good signal that there's more juice that is left to squeeze out of that flow. So in every single flow, like a waterfall, you're gonna see the conversion rate drop day by day by day. If you still have a 1% conversion rate on that last email, that 5th email, the new one that you introduce, might have a 0.6% conversion rate. The next one might have a 0.2%. Maybe that's where we want to cut it. But why would we leave that additional revenue on the table if the data is showing us that at this point, X days later, people are still converting? Now, after someone purchases, these are lower priority optimizations that you should be testing each month. But really, you have someone who is placing an order. So then we have our post-purchase flows, and you can A/B test having a bounce back offer immediately after purchase. So if someone just places their order, can we get them to add on additional items before we ship their order as soon as they complete their purchase, and A/B test what we are offering at that point in the funnel? This actually can be high priority for certain brands that have all of their LTV or most of their LTV really like front loaded. So if you have a brand that has a very low repeat purchase rate, this would actually be one of the higher leverage things for you to A/B test to just make sure you're able to get as much of that LTV upfront. So after purchase, we have someone going through the product adoption phase of the life cycle. Here's where we would want to request a review. There's really no high leverage A/B tests to run here that are actually going to help you grow your business, which is why this is red. Next up, we have replenishment. So if you do have a replenishable product, this can become higher priority and higher leverage as you're doing more volume. But in reality, you have a certain amount of time each month, and that's why this is not considered the highest priority flow for you to be A/B testing. When you do A/B test it, you should be testing the offer. The reason why we just keep repeating offer, 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 offer is, again, we've run hundreds of A/B tests, and I don't want you to waste any of your time. So yes, you could be testing your hero images. You could be testing the landing page that buttons are linking out to. You could be testing a lot of other variables, and those would lead to small increases. But I want you to spend your time on the highest leverage action items, the highest leverage tests that can be run. And across the board, that comes down to the offer. In our retention phase, we have our loyalty or membership program sign up. Really no important testing to be done there. We have our customer win back flow, similar to our replenishment. It's just not a flow that's going to have huge revenue increases from A/B testing each month. It's not going to be one of your higher traffic flows, and that's why there's not as much focus on it. Then we have our sunset flow. Really no point in A/B testing this unless you have a full email marketing team of 20 people. And then finally, we have direct mail win back. So I'm gonna make a video soon about direct mail, specifically using Postpilot in your Klaviyo flows, but this can be high leverage. We're actually running tests with some of our clients right now for this exact purpose. I will be sure to update everyone with the results of that. But yeah, this is basically it. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. And lastly, just as a reminder, if you have not watched my full Klaviyo course video, go watch that. I promise it is not just like email and SMS fluff. It is actual revenue driving strategies that will supercharge your Klaviyo account. I'll see you over there.